Good evening and welcome back to the Rory Talks Football channel, your daily Arsenal news, updates, debates, and my opinions. And it is a tough one to take today. It is tough. It's tough. I've got a cold as well. My voice is going, so I apologize if it's not as high energy as normal, and if my voice just doesn't sound great. I do apologize, but it's great to see loads of you here as normal. If you could like the video, like the live stream, that would help me out massively. And if you could subscribe if you're new as well, that would be fantastic. But look, we'll talk about last night, obviously. The backlash from it today, most of it is just tiring, nonsensical, and ridiculous. But we'll talk about it. Pekka, Jakub, Icarus, Vivi Vlad, George Christodoulou, Pedro, John Gaming, Sportcat, Max, Tentego, Magnus, Carter, Philip, Hannah, Sam Shapiro, Jakub, Gaming, Ethan Udall, Ultra Pro Gamer, Darwin, Ashburn, probably. Jack Sachs, Nathan, Samuel Willem. It is good to see you all. Sharmarke as well. Look, last night was tough. But honestly, one of the things I find worse than losing is the nonsense that comes the day afterwards. Like, it's so tiring. It's so ridiculous. And, you know, I'm seeing things today like, is Arteta a failure or a success? Failure or success? Are you allowed any opinion in the middle of that? But you have to vote on, is he a failure or a success? It's like there's no room for nuanced debate. There's no room for, like, for me, Mikel Arteta is somewhere in the middle at the moment. He's overachieved, I think, on what we thought he would and could do. He's ahead of expectations. And so in that sense, it's a success. But until he eventually wins a league title or a Champions League, it's not a complete success. Because it can't be a complete success until, you know, we've won. Like, at the end of the day, you do have to win things. That is the aim of the game. But, you know, like, if the answer to that is you're a failure, then we're basically saying, if you can't beat the best team in the world with the best manager in the world, you're a failure. No matter what. And it's like, the word bottle is just kicked around like Kurt Zuma's in the house. It's you know, the word bottle is just ridiculous. I mean, we have still conceded, we have still dropped fewer points than Liverpool and Man City in 2024. So that's not bottling it. Like, if the reason we're not top of the league is because of points we dropped in pretty much the first half of the, well, no, it was the first half of the season. Well, in that sense, every single team that isn't bottom of the top of the league bottled it, right? Spurs were top of the league at one point, so they bottled it. They must have done. It doesn't make sense. It's ridiculous. He's not a failure, but he's in the middle. Yeah, he's in the middle. He's in the middle. It's, you know, people talking about Arteta out. Arteta out. Like, and the thing is, the exact same people that will say Arteta out will also tell you that none of our players are good enough. The exact same people that will tell, you know, someone last night was comparing Bukayo Saka to Victor Moses. So a player who is absolutely one of our three best players being compared to Victor Moses. Okay, then. So that's the level of our squad, but you're expecting the manager to beat Man City under Pep Guardiola. It makes no sense. They try and have it every single possible way, but you can't. Either our squad is nowhere near good enough to compete with Man City, in which case Mikel Arteta is overachieving with it, or our squad is better than Man City's, and Mikel Arteta is underachieving. To say that Mikel Arteta is underachieving means you believe that our squad should be beating Man City. Okay, then. If that's what you think, fine. But it makes no sense. Victor Moses is hideous work. Yeah, it is. I don't think Saka is one of our three best. I do. I think he's one of our three best. But either way, top three, top four, top five. I mean, it's by the by, really. It was our first UCL quarterfinal with this group, and people expected us to beat six-time champions Bayern. Shows how much expectations we already have. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. I would say, on balance, more people would have had or should have had Man City to be favourites to beat Real Madrid than had Arsenal favourites to beat Bayern. City lose to Real Madrid, and yet somehow it's Arsenal that are the bottlers, and it's Arsenal that need to be looking up, looking at moving on from Arteta. I mean, it's insane. We've got a £4.99 super chat from Harry Robinson. Thank you very, very much. He says, big up, Rory. Recently got into your content and always watch the replays, but in the live stream now. Keep up the great work. Harry, I massively appreciate you. As always, anyone who is watching this back on the replay, shout out to you. I do massively appreciate you. And if you're watching back right now and you could click the like button below, then that would be even better. But thank you very much, Harry. Incredibly grateful for that. Stop baiting. Arteta shouldn't be out. It's not his fault. Our squad depth is shit. Yeah, but look, the thing is, though, and I agree to that extent, I don't think our squad depth is shit, but it's not as good as Man City's. Like, objectively, it's just not as good as Man City's. But you can still criticize Arteta. This is the thing. You can criticize Arteta without wanting Arteta out. There are elements with Arteta that I think need to improve. In terms of the lessons that we learned from yesterday, we've learned that we burn out at the end of the season. And that there's a lot of this that all kind of ties in together. But in the last 3 seasons now, we've not won a game in April. But, the season before last season, we lost 3 games in April. Last season, we drew 3 and lost 1 in April. And so far this season, we've drawn 1 and lost 2. Now, that's a problem. Is it to do with the mentality of the players? Maybe. Maybe they don't have the mentality. But it's to do with the fact that they're knackered. And the second half is what's proving that. Second half against Villa, second half yesterday. Shocking. Really shocking. Yesterday's second half, we had 2 shots that had a combined XG of 0.08. And for half of that half, we were chasing the game. Like, that is very, very poor. Why are the players knackered? Because Arteta doesn't trust his squad. Why does Arteta not trust his squad? For some of them, because they're not good enough, objectively. For some of them, I think it's a problem with Arteta. And I do think Arteta needs to rotate players better. I do think that is something he has to work on. If you look at, there are some stats that are bad, really, in relation to the amount that Arteta uses our key players. 7 Arsenal players this season have started 40 or more of the 45 games that we've played. In all comps, we've played 45 games. 7 of our players have started 40 of those. Man City have played 47 competitive games, and 0 players in that squad have started 40 or more. So they've played more games than us, and yet still none of their players have started 40 or more games. 7 of ours have. And for a fact, by the way, and those players are White, Saliba, Gabriel, Rice, Ødegaard, Saka, and Havertz. If Martinelli was fit all season, he'd probably done so as well. And that's a problem. And then you look at the other end of the table, you look at the other end of the minutes and who's played how many minutes. There are 8 players that have played fewer minutes than Ramsdale this season. Our substitute goalkeeper. Now, I know he played a few games, but Smith Rowe has played fewer minutes than Ramsdale. Reece Nelson, Thomas Partey, Fabio Vieira. And then you've got Cedric Elneny. That's fine. Nwaneri's fine. But the key ones for me, and this is where I do think Arteta's got it wrong, are Reece Nelson, Smith Rowe, and Fabio Vieira. Because he insisted on keeping Smith Rowe when we know there were people that were willing to offer good money for him. He's barely played. Reece Nelson, he gave a new contract to, barely played. Fabio Vieira, he signed for 35 million quid. He's barely played. Now, I know they've had some small injuries throughout, but they've been available a lot of the time. Right? Now, either they aren't good enough or they need to be trusted. But that's it. That's the crux of the issue. You having them there but not being played just means that, I think Saliba has missed about 35 minutes in total this season in the Premier League and Champions League. He's played every other minute. It's not sustainable. It's not sustainable. And then, even then, in games where we're 4 or 5-0 up, he leaves a lot of them on for way too long. There's a reason people have been concerned with the amount Saka has played since being integrated into the first team squad. Yeah, massively. Massively. There are concerns about all of them. Don't forget, William Saliba is a young player that's already had a problematic back injury. He's not had a rest all season. And look, I'm not saying that when we go into games, we should be resting. In fact, let me show you, right? Let me show you exactly what I mean. I'm not saying we should be rotating massively every single game, right? But this is what I mean. I don't care about this. Okay, if you look at some of the games that we've played, right? So against Luton, which was considered an easy game, we made loads of rotation. And I say loads of rotation. We still played White, Saliba, Gabriel, Erdegaard, and Kai Havertz. So that's 5 of the 7 players that have started 40 or more games. But we rotated a little bit because we brought in Smith Rowe and Partey and Reece Nelson, right? And that was Luton at home. But the real big issue were the games before that. Sheffield United away. Full strength. That group of players, White, Saliba, Gabriel, Erdegaard, Rice, Saka, Havertz, started the game. The earliest any of them went off was Saka at halftime. Most of them, Rice played till the 75th minute. So all of them played that one. Burnley away. White, Saliba, Gabriel, Erdegaard, Rice, Havertz, Saka. All of them played. Saka played till the 70th. Erdegaard played the full 90. Both the centre-backs played the full 90. Havertz till the 85th minute. Whereas with subbing off, one of the first subs was Trossard, who doesn't play that much. West Ham away, 6-0. Now, admittedly, I think we thought that was going to be a harder game than it was. But again, White, Saliba, Gabriel, Erdegaard, Rice, Havertz, Saka. You see where I'm going with this, okay? Now, I am not saying that in those games, we should be making 4, 5, 6 substitutions. What I'm saying is, in the West Ham game, rest Kai Havertz. In the Burnley game, rest Martin Erdegaard. In the next game, Sheffield United, rest William Saliba or Ben White. It's spot rotation. It's spot rotation that we need to do. And that is what Man City do. Man City don't make sweeping changes every time they play a weak team. But against the majority of teams, pretty much any team in the bottom 12 in the table, they will happily rotate 1 or 2 of their players out to keep people fit and sharp. And that's the thing that we don't do enough. That's the thing that is causing this fatigue. Saliba has played every minute in the Prem for us. Yeah, exactly. Every minute in the Prem. And basically I think he's had 35 minutes that he's not played all season. Smith Rowe should start more often. Fabio Vieira should. And look, the best example, right? The best example is Jakub Kiwior. If Jurrien Timber, Tomiyasu, and Zinchenko hadn't been injured this season, Kiwior would barely have played a minute. That's a fact. You know it, I know it. Kiwior would not have played if it wasn't for a bunch of injuries. And yet when he came in, he played very, very well. And so how many other players do we have? If Fabio Vieira had to come in because Erdegaard got a serious injury, how would he actually play? Because I think he genuinely might end up, he could play well in that position. If he can't, why have we got him? It's a problem. And I think look, part of it for sure is that the squad depth isn't there. Fine. I get it. Reece Nelson might not be good enough to win the big games, but he's good enough to win the smaller games. And I think it's just a trust issue. Arteta has to start putting trust in the whole squad. What's up? Been following the channel for a while, but I've always had to watch the streams as videos as I could never make it. Pleasure to be here now, though. Gareth Falconer, welcome. Welcome to the live stream. It is good to see you here. It is good to see you here. I am a neutral, but City being out was what I wanted most. A back-to-back treble plus a four-peat could not happen by any circumstance for the good of football. I agree. I agree. Very, very happy that City aren't going to win the double treble. As Clive says, we need to start finding our own players, our own squad players. Yeah, we do. We do. You know, you look at Ethan Nwaneri potentially coming through. But for me, this is the big issue. This is the big issue. It's the lack of squad rotation, which leads to fatigue. And we've seen it for effectively 3 seasons in a row now. This is the 3rd season where we've hit April and players have burnt out. Factually. It's rather hard playing Guess the Gooner when it isn't live. Yeah, I can imagine. I can imagine. We need to talk about a left 8. It's a massive issue. It is. It is. Look, there are 2 issues with the squad. There are 2 issues with the squad. One is the lack of a real goal scorer, because again, in games like last night, you're not going to get that many chances. When you do get a chance, you've got to score. Ricardo says, shout out to AFC Max for the membership. Keep up the great Arsenal content. Ricardo, thank you very much. And yeah, as always, thank you to Max. We need a goal scorer. We do. Look, I love Kai Havertz. You know, he's getting a lot of backlash today. That's one where people say, oh, 65 million on Havertz was such a bad use of money. Havertz has had a good season, especially the second half of the season. If we'd spent 40 million on Havertz, no one would say anything, which means worst case scenario, we overspent on him by about 25 million. In the grand scheme of things, that is very little. You know, when you consider that City bought Mateus Nunes for 50 million or whatever it was, they barely used him, but they get away with it because the rest of the squad covers it up. Yeah, Jesus, I think, needs to be sold. I've changed my opinion on Jesus, but I think he needs to be sold. Unless Jesus can somehow have some sort of recovery over the summer. You know, you look at that moment last night, he's offside because he knows he doesn't have the pace to run in behind, and then the shot is just abysmal. If we got Kimmich, where would he play? Clearly he's best at right back. This is the thing, though. You know, this is exactly my point. When we talk about the ability to rotate and not use Ben White every game and not use Declan Rice every game and not use, you know, even Saliba. Kimmich can play at right back and be the player that inverts into the midfield. Kimmich can play as the 6. He's done it for a long time for Bayern Munich. So you can either have Kimmich and Declan Rice in the midfield, where Declan Rice would maybe be more of the 8, or you play him at right back and you allow him to invert. But again, he doesn't need to start every game, and that allows us to rotate. So it's, yeah, I think he'd be a great player for us. I really do. He was both legs. Kimmich was brilliant. Have you seen the Sesko and Elise links that have come out today? Yeah, look, I'll talk about the Sesko links, actually. So interestingly, right, by the way, after last night's game, Mikel Arteta was asked about the lack of a proper striker at the club. He said, we don't have a striker that could score 30 or 40 goals, and we have to live with that. Now, to me, that is the first time, really, that Arteta has kind of acknowledged that not having a proper striker is hurting us. When you say we don't have a striker that can score 30 to 40 goals and we have to live with that, that's a negative thing to say. To say we have to live with that, that's never a positive thing. So I think he's acknowledging that we need to go and get a striker, and we know we do. And yeah, today we've been linked back to Benjamin Sesko again, obviously at RB Leipzig. Ben Jacobs, who is quite reliable, said Chelsea, Arsenal, and Manchester United are eyeing Benjamin Sesko, who has a €50 million release clause at RB Leipzig. And Simon Collins said a new forward is high on Arsenal's shopping list this summer, with Benjamin Sesko one of those on their radar. Now, for me, Gyökeres is the guy still. I think Gyökeres is a better option than Benjamin Sesko, but I'm not going to lie, some of Arteta's press conferences piss me off. Yeah, they can do. Leo the Gooner, good to see you. Ain't been in the chat in a while, but always watching. I appreciate it. I appreciate that, Leo the Gooner. Sesko's a little bit raw. I think if you're talking about someone that can come in and start scoring straight away, I think you're looking at a Gyökeres. But clearly it's high on the list. But the other big thing for me is the whole left-hand side. And I know I've said it before, but, again, last night, and I think Gareth's talking about it here, that's what I always wanted to ask. I see you saying a lot that we need another LCM. So would you play Rice further back and then go out and get another 8 at LCM? You've got two options. You can either just go out and get a real 8 and keep Declan Rice as the 6, which I think is what we're going to do. I do think that's what we're going to do. Or you can go and get, someone that can play more of a 6/8, and then you can rotate between them. You can play a double pivot, more like what Jorginho and Rice do when they play big games together, and let Rice go forward a bit more. But Rice has spoken quite a lot recently about how he does just see himself as a 6. So in that case, you want to go and get an 8. But again, if that means that between your right back and your 6, you've got 3 players. Let's say we went and got a Kimmich, right? That means you've got White, Kimmich, and Rice as 3 players that can rotate between those. Because it wouldn't surprise me, really. Declan Rice could play at right back if he needed to. He never would, because you'd play Kimmich as the right back and you'd play Declan Rice as the 6. But even just having 3 players that can rotate between those 2 positions, I think that's ideal. Instead of just having White and Rice play every game, because it's not sustainable. What's happening to Martinelli in the last few games? Well, again, I'll bring this up. I apologize, my voice is going, but I'll bring this up. If you look at the last 3 games that we've played, right, as the perfect example, our last 3 games. Yesterday, Tomiyasu left back, Declan Rice as the left centre mid, Martinelli left wing. So that left-hand side was Tomiyasu, Rice, Martinelli. The game before that, our left-hand side, Zinchenko, Havertz, Trossard. Literally a completely different left-hand side to the one that we saw yesterday. The game before that, Kivior, Rice, Martinelli. So Rice and Martinelli again, but then Jakub Kivior. So in 3 games, we play 3 different left backs, 2 different left central midfielders, and 2 different left wingers in the space of 3 games. This is the issue for me. Rice needs to be here. This needs to be a new signing. This needs to be Jurgen Timber. That's it. But the main thing is, this position and this position need to be consistent. They need to have an understanding. Because right now, it feels like on this side of the pitch, there is a complete disconnect. And it's letting Martinelli down, who I also think at times is letting himself down now. I don't think he looks so low on confidence. We don't really see him doing what we saw him doing previously. I didn't really see him driving at Kimmich at any point. But that's the problem. On this side, we know exactly what we're getting. It's these 3 every time. But even on this side, it's these 3 to the point that it's too much. But the real issue is this side of the pitch. And yesterday is the perfect example. Bayern completely neutralized this side, right? Completely neutralized this side of the pitch. If we were a functioning high-level side, we should then be able to exploit Bayern on this side of the pitch. It should be, from White or Odegaard, whoever, bang, bang, and then we know what we're doing over here. But we don't. And that's a problem. So look, I know what Martinelli can do. I've seen what Martinelli can do. And he is still 22 years old, right? So in no way am I going to start giving up on Gabby Martinelli. In no way. Once I've seen him with a settled left back, a new settled left central midfielder, then I'll start judging him. And then maybe at some point, we do look at this position as somewhere we need to upgrade on. You know, based on the way Martinelli's played this season, you would say that's a position you need to upgrade on. But right now, not for me. The main thing for me is the process. The reactionary comments are ridiculous. We're getting better each year and silverware is inevitable. I agree. The problem is, right, the majority of the conversation is whipped up by people who want engagements. Either Arsenal fans that want engagements, you know, or media outlets that want engagements and clicks. And the way to do that is to divide the fan base. I'll be mad if we spend 50 million on Diamande in the summer before getting a winger, left eight, or a striker. I won't be, actually. If we spend 50 million on Diamande and then don't get a left eight, winger, or striker, any of those, if we need all four. We need all four. That's the reality. We have to go and get all four. So yeah, if we went and got Diamande and then missed out on one of those, especially a left eight or a winger, or a striker, sorry, big problem. But I still look at the amount of minutes that these three have played. Sorry, I'm not showing it now. I look at the amount of minutes that Gabriel, Saliba, and White have played. Diamande, I think you need that. If we don't already have it at the club, we need to bring someone in that Arteta trusts to start in games ahead of them. Some of the tweets I've seen recently are absolute insanity, especially from a lot of big Arsenal accounts. Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. Who's your ideal winger to replace Saka? I don't want to replace Saka. I don't want to replace Saka. I want a winger to compete with Saka and to be a backup to Saka and to Martinelli, really. Someone said we had links to Elise today, actually. Let me just check that out. Because Elise would kind of be the guy. Elise would kind of be the guy. Oh, yeah. Cronky Sports Entertainment. Cronky Sports and Entertainment look set to heavily back Mikel Arteta this summer as Arsenal sorry, my voice is awful. Right. KSE looks set to heavily back Mikel Arteta this summer as Arsenal eye Alexander Isak and Michael Elise. That's coming from Ed Aarons for Guardian Sport. Interesting. That was 4 minutes ago. No, it was a bit before that. But yeah, apparently Isak and Elise coming from the Guardian. So interesting. Should we try and get Musiala? He can compete with Saka, Odegaard, and could be on number 8. I mean, yeah. I'd love Musiala, but I mean, to be honest, I'd take Leroy Sané. Leroy Sané was cooking. Gyökeres is too expensive. 100 million for a guy who's not Premier League or Champions League proven is quite outrageous. At least Alba did it in the Champions League. Fair, but who, like, okay, Isak's Premier League proven. Ivan Toney's Premier League proven, but I don't know. Elanga as a cheap option? Maybe. To be honest, Elise's attitude would put me off. Maybe. I mean, to be fair, like, Elise's attitude previously was poor, but I don't know. Changes for Saturday. We'll talk about that in tomorrow's stream. We'll do the Wolves. We'll have a Wolves preview tomorrow, so we'll talk about that then. To be honest, I've literally not thought about it. I literally haven't thought about it yet. Rory, if Mikel doesn't win anything at all next season, what happens with him? Context is key. I keep hearing this, I keep hearing this question asked or getting this question. You know, if you don't win anything next season, do you sack him? What's the context? Do we, like, next season, let's say, for example, we get 95 points in the Premier League, but City get 97, and we get to the Champions League final and lose it to Real Madrid in a close game. We get knocked out of the FA Cup by Man City and the Carabao Cup by Liverpool. Do you sack him? Like, it's all about the context. For me, as long as we keep improving, keep him. As long as we keep improving is the key. So we need more points next season. We need to go further in the Champions League next season. And really, I do think we need to win I think we should be looking to win a domestic trophy. But people keep talking about, I've seen people talking about how Arsenal have just sacked off the domestic trophies. I really don't think we sacked off the domestic trophies this year. Like, realistically, we played a stronger team than Liverpool in the FA Cup, and they beat us. But we played a stronger team than them. We actually took that game more seriously than they did, but they beat us. Even the West Ham game in the Carabao Cup that we lost, we didn't play a weakened team. Like, we made some changes against West Ham, but it wasn't crazy weak. We brought on the likes of Bukayo Saka and stuff. Arteta's cut form does have to be questioned. But realistically, I don't care about the Carabao Cup either way, right? I never will. FA Cup, this season we lost to Liverpool. Last season we lost to Man City early on in the competition. Probability suggests you're not going to get Liverpool and City every year. The Liverpool team, the Liverpool team that we lost to in the FA Cup was a more weakened team than ours. Look, I'll show you. The Liverpool team that we lost to in the FA Cup, this is the team we played. Bar Reece Nelson and Ramsdale in goal, that's basically our strongest team. That's the team that we continued playing with throughout that period. For Liverpool, they rested Van Dijk. Salah didn't play. I think he'd gone to AFCON. In the midfield, they had Harvey Elliott. Oh, you want... Sorry. I thought you were... Sorry. You just wanted to know what Liverpool's lineup was tonight. That's my bad. You just wanted to know what Liverpool's lineup was tonight. Sorry. Their lineup is... They haven't announced it yet, weirdly. I don't know why they haven't announced it yet. It's gone 7 o'clock, but it's not on their Twitter yet. When do you start the gaming streams? Are you going to do it in a brand new channel or this channel or TikTok? The gaming streams are going to be on Twitch. The gaming streams are going to be on Twitch when I start them. So yeah, we'll be on Twitch. By the way, if you want to join the Discord, the link's in the description to the Discord. That way you will be able to follow wherever I go. Why has your time not changed? I don't know. Liverpool took their chances. We didn't. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Do we need to sell Smith Rowe and Vieira, given he trusts neither and we need an 8 and could probably get a backup 6? Maybe. The issue is, if you sell both of them, then you haven't got anyone to come in for Martin Odegaard. That's the issue. What are we getting first? Rory's gaming streams or GTA 6? My gaming streams. No, do you know what? To be honest, part of the fact that because we've been playing every 3 days, I've genuinely just not had a lot of time. Like, not a lot of time. Invalid Discord invite? Oh, I might need to change it. Does the link expire? I might need to change it. The link's in the description, but I'll need to change it because I think the link's expired. So that's my bad. Do you think we need more of a 6, 8, or 10 to play with Odegaard, to play with Rice and Odegaard? I think we need an 8. I do think we need an 8. Do you believe we're a bit defensive at times and need to let our players stay higher up, a bit like Real Madrid do? Maybe. But look at the way Real Madrid played last night. It's crazy defensive the way they played last night. I don't understand why Liverpool haven't announced their team yet. Oh no, they did. They announced it ages ago. It was 20 minutes ago. Liverpool's team: Alisson, Van Dijk, Konate, Trent Alexander-Arnold and Robertson, Jones, Szoboszlai, McAllister. In fact, I could just bring it up, couldn't I? Oh no, I can't. Why have I clicked on that? Jones, Szoboszlai, McAllister, Gakpo, Salah, and Diaz. So there you go. They've gone full strength. They have gone full strength. They've dropped Darwin Nunez. Gakpo starting through the middle. They've dropped Endo. So they've got Jones, McAllister, and Szoboszlai in midfield. Trent's back at right back. Van Dijk, Konate, and Robertson. And the Atalanta team is... In fact, I think I can just do it on here. This might have updated now. Yeah, it has. There you go. That's the Atalanta team. Musso, Kolasinac, Hein, Jimitsi, Zappacosta, Edison, Darun, Ruggeri, Koop Miners, Miranchuk, and Schumacher. So there you go. It'll be an interesting game. It'll be an interesting game. Do you remember how everyone rated those FA Cups when we won 4 in 7 years? No, me neither. Exactly. I was saying this to someone today. When we were winning FA Cups, no one cared. Literally no one cared, and everything was always about top 4. If you weren't in the Champions League, an FA Cup didn't matter. Suddenly, the cups matter. Suddenly, the cups matter. And look, I don't know about you, but I had to say earlier, okay, the 2019-2020 season, right? Horrible season, but we won the FA Cup. Would you rather have that season, or would you rather have the last 2 seasons that we've had? Would you rather title race, Champions League, or... The dog's going crazy. Title race, Champions League, or nowhere near any of it, finishing in 8th, but winning an FA Cup? And if your answer is that you'd rather win an FA Cup than be in the Champions League, than be in a title race, and I mean this honestly, you're better off supporting Spurs. Not Spurs, they won't win the FA Cup either. But you're better off supporting a team that's never up there. Like a mid-table team that might have a chance at an FA Cup. This is exactly what I said. Cups are the FA Cup is the cherry on the cake. The cake itself is being in a title race and being in the Champions League. Yeah, Chelsea, exactly. The cake is the season. You're there week in, week out, all season. But you want that to be rubbish, but you win an FA Cup at the end of it. You know? And obviously, the ideal world is that you're in a title race in the Champions League and you win the FA Cup. That's the cherry on the cake. But, you know, that's not a reason to be looking at getting rid of Arteta. What platform will gaming streams be on? Gaming streams will be on Twitch. Gaming streams will be on Twitch. And look, I'm going to need your help. I'm going to need your help over on Twitch. I don't know what the rules are, but basically if there's like 100 of you that regularly watch for like the first 30 days or something, I think then I can get partnered and then I can have subs and then you can use your Amazon Prime to sub to me so I can make money, but you don't have to pay for it. That's the dream that we're going for here. That is the dream that we're going for here. 2 teams, 1 cup. Terrible video. Oh, fuck's sake. Can we have Guess the Gooner? Yes, we can. It is time for Guess the Gooner. The game where I give you 5 clues about an ex or current Arsenal player, and you have to guess who that player is. First person to get it right in the chat wins the immense pride and respect of the Rory Talks Football community. Mo Arsenal just tweeted saying Isak links are true, Elise links aren't true. Interesting. Rory on Twitch. Gaming streams are going to be on Twitch. Yeah, gaming streams will be on Twitch. Gaming streams will be on Twitch, and they will take place between roughly 10 p.m. and midnight, as many days of the week as I can. UK time, obviously. Right, Guess the Gooner, starting now. Clue number 1. This player has won both the Europa League and the UEFA Super Cup. This player has won both the Europa League and the UEFA Super Cup. Clue number 2. This player is 30 years old. Clue number 2. This player is 30 years old. Clue number 3. This player scored 5 goals in 109 games for Arsenal. They scored 5 goals in 109 games for Arsenal. Clue number 4. They signed for Arsenal for 45 million in 2020. They signed for Arsenal for 45 million in 2020. And clue number 5, they have played 45 times for Ghana. That should be the giveaway. They've played 45 times for Ghana. Plenty of you getting it now. Plenty of you getting it now. Whilst I'm doing the VAR check, if you could like the video. If you just do that whilst I'm VAR checking. Subscribe if you're new. We're on the way to 9,900 subscribers, which is fun. Who was first? Who was first? There you go. Devin. Because I don't think... Oh, internet. Hold up. Internet. We're back. I think we're back. Yeah. Theo was second. Congratulations, Theo. George Christodoulou was third. was fourth. And Leo Nesbitt was fifth. So there you go. Congratulations, Devin. I didn't crash. I kind of crashed. The internet just dropped out for a sec. It was the internet, not the PC. It was the internet, not the PC. If you were trying to watch the stream last night, you'll know that I've been having some issues with Virgin. I have been having some issues with Virgin. Check complete. Correct decision. Goal given. Goal given. Devin, congratulations. Congratulations. I think we would have lost anyway, but that corner decision we didn't get was shocking. Yeah. The corner decision from that Ødegaard shot, genuinely horrific. I mean, Saka probably wouldn't have cleared the first man, but does this count as a dirty double? Back-to-back wins. It's not a dirty double, but it's a double. It is a double, but not a dirty double. But congratulations, Devin, on the back-to-back. I didn't even realize it was back-to-back. Lille are leading 2-0 to Villa. What? What the hell? I didn't even know they were playing. Why have they already kicked off? When did it kick off? Oh, it kicked off early. Lille are 2-0 up. Lille are going to knock out Aston Villa. We are a farmers' league. We are a farmers' league. We are the farmers. We are the farmers. The silly, silly farmers. Unbelievable. Yeah, it does just make it even worse that we lost to this Villa team. They're getting dicked as well. They're getting smashed. They've had one shot all game. The entire game, they've had one shot and it wasn't on target. What's their lineup? Like, I just don't get it. I don't get it. How did we get smacked up by them? They didn't even start Diego Carlos. Anyway, whatever. I hope they crash out anyway. Did I miss? Yeah, you missed Guess the Gooner, unfortunately, Drakkar. We just did it. But you haven't missed Guess the Non-Gooner. It's time for Guess the Non-Gooner. I will give you the entire career path of a player who does not and has not played for Arsenal. And you have to guess who that player is. First person to get it right wins the immense pride and respect of the Rory Talks Football community, but not as much respect as Devin currently has. Starting with your Guess the Non-Gooner today, they started their career at SMKN. How do you pronounce that? The French one. SM Cheyenne? How do you pronounce this that I put it in the chat? Cheyenne? Cayenne? Anyway, they started there. They moved to FC Lorient. They moved to Borussia Dortmund. And they moved to Bayern Munich. And that's it. So, SM Cheyenne, FC Lorient, Borussia Dortmund, Bayern Munich. It's not Ousmane Dembele. It is not Ousmane Dembele. It's not Kanye. A lot of you were going for Kante. N'Golo, Kante, Maestro Kimpembe. But no, it was not. Not Kimmich, not Lewandowski. Robert Lewandowski. Right, I've gone back to the top, so we're not going to get done by VAR. We're not getting done by VAR. Yeah, get rid of Unai Emery. Terrible decision. Terrible decision. Not Munier, not Dembele, not Goretzka. I'm gonna give it to Oslo Gunnar. It was Guerrero. It was Rafa Guerrero. I'm gonna give it to Oslo Gunnar because I think that's what he was trying to type. It was followed up by the same incorrect spelling, which makes me feel like that was copying your homework. Third was VV Vlad. Fourth was Adapt or Perish, and fifth was Ethan Udall. So there you go. It was indeed Guerrero. Rory, I wrote Goretzka. I actually meant Guerrero. See, the issue with that, right? The issue with that is that Goretzka looks more like you were trying to type Goretzka. Given that they both play for Bayern, you're much closer to Goretzka than you are to Guerrero. So, unfortunately, the VAR here is going to have to deny that goal. It was after Oslo Gunnar anyway. So Oslo Gunnar won it. But I think that's too close to Goretzka. You might look. I have no doubt you are telling the truth. I believe you, but unfortunately, it's not about what I believe. It's the extra at the end. It's nowhere near Guerrero. We'll be honest, it's nowhere near Guerrero. But look, congratulations to who won it? Oh, Oslo Gunnar. Congratulations. By the way, the other game in the Europa Conference League right now, Fiorentina against Victoria Plzen, was 0-0 in the first leg, and it's currently 0-0 after 72 minutes in the second leg. That is boring. My next guest will be Henelka. Do you think we should try Fabio Vieira at left centre mid? He did well at the start of the season there, and left centre mid has been a problem position for us all season. Yeah, I don't get why we don't. And this was, again, for me, the substitutes that Arteta made yesterday weren't the right ones. You know, we created nothing in the second half. We went 1-0 down, and we didn't change anything other than moving Havertz back into the midfield, which doesn't work because the ball doesn't progress through the midfield when it's Havertz in there. Like, for me, you know, I do think Smith Rowe or Fabio Vieira should have come on in that position. Why does Martinelli get hooked off over Saka every time? So frustrating. He's never going to find form with 65 minutes a game. I don't know. I think part of it is because Trossard's definitely better. It's normally for Trossard or Jesus, but Trossard's better off the left-hand side. This is the issue. We just don't have a like-for-like replacement for Saka. Like, we have to address it, you know, because it is a big problem. Why is the Madrid's atmosphere so much better than Arsenal's? Like, why can't we be like them? Well, every time we try and do something with the atmosphere, the club pretty much shuts it down. So that's one of the reasons. Also, like, to get tickets at Madrid, you actually have to be a real Madrid fan. There's another reason. I'd have preferred to see Smith Rowe over Eddie. Yeah, when Eddie came on, I knew it was over, to be honest. What do you think about buying Amadou Onana and using him as a DM and evolve Rice into an LCM? If you're going to go and buy an outright DM, I'd rather go and get Palhinha than Onana. I'd go for, if I was just going to go and get a 6, I'd get, well, to be honest, I'd get Douglas Luiz, but then I'd get Palhinha. Like for like, in what way? Doesn't that make us predictable? Not really. Not really. It's just fresh legs. It's more about having fresh legs on that right-hand side. Because, again, if we had a functioning left-hand side, they simply wouldn't be able to commit as many men to locking up the right-hand side as they do. The Bernabeu is crazy loud stadium per design, especially with the roof on. Yeah, it is. It is. It is. Onana gives aerial dominance. So does Palhinha, to be fair. Look at the number of tackles Palhinha's made compared to any other player in Europe. It's insane. The number of tackles Palhinha makes is outrageous. What do you think about us signing Sesko, and would you be happy if we got him for 50 million? I'd rather get Gyökeres, personally. But that's just me. That's just me. Look, it's going to be the end of the stream. I massively appreciate all of you for tuning in. As always, I apologize that it's been a bit ropey. But I do appreciate all of you. If you've not liked the video, please do so. If you've not subscribed, please do so. And I will be back. I'm going to be back early tomorrow. I'm going to be streaming earlier tomorrow. I think it's going to start at 6 instead of 6:30 because I'm going to the cinema in the evening. So I'll be back half an hour earlier tomorrow. But until then, have a fantastic evening. Let's all go and watch Liverpool hopefully lose. And I will catch you all tomorrow. Goodbye.